When was the last time you were afraid? When was the last time you got news you didn't want to hear? When was the last time things didn't work out the way you had hoped? In those moments, everything seems to stop as you take the news in, and it's though as time has stopped, yet somehow you still sense that the world goes on. You can see people moving, but they're just a blur. You can hear them talking, yet their words are unintelligible. And finally, something wakes up in your brain, reminding you you'd better take a deep breath in. So you start breathing again. You feel that first blink on your re-entry into reality. It's like all the appliances humming and beeping as power is restored. Everything is back online again. You exhale one last time before turning that job back over to your autonomic nervous system. This is all to say, fear can feel a lot like death. Biblically speaking, it can reduce us to a pile of dry bones. Our beloved disciples have just returned to Jerusalem and are once again in that upper room, and fear is the prevailing emotion. Over the last 2 months, they watched as their rabbi got arrested on frivolous charges. The trial went sideways and he was sentenced to death, all as people were coming up to them and saying, "Weren't you one of his followers?" with a tone that seemed to imply, "Watch it, you're up next." The rabbi was crucified, but to make matters worse, he appeared 3 days later and kept appearing. This resurrection wasn't quite good news to them yet. It was holy confusion at best, but more like a holy fear as the world ceased to make any sort of sense. And finally, before leaving them, Christ promised them an advocate, but didn't say when it would get there. Wanted, alone, scared. That was the upper room. The church was as good as dead. The good news was but a valley of dry bones. And then God breathed. It was a rushing, mighty wind, and it filled the whole house where they were sitting. Time stood still as divided tongues of fire hovered over each of them. And as the fear subsided, they too realized, you better take a deep breath in. And those words made sense. Receive the Holy Spirit. As they exhaled the breath of God, the illiterate became wise sages. Fishermen became apostles. Simpletons became fluent in many languages. And the church became alive once again. The rhythm of death and of life, the cycle of fear and of breath, became the good news, became our Paschal mystery. If Easter is our victory over death, then Pentecost is our victory over fear. Peace be with you. Do not fear, only believe. These are the words we hear Jesus saying over and over again throughout his ministry. He tells us this so many times because he knows that fear is as good as death. And Christ came so that we might have life and live it abundantly. And we know that when we look back on our lives, when we look back on those times when we were afraid, we know that we were as good as dead. But our hope comes when we remember those moments when we felt something picking us up, reminding us that what we were going through was not the end. That somehow, some way, there would be something new. That was us remembering to breathe in and receive the Holy Spirit, the Lord, the giver of life. Some years ago, a friend called me the evening before his child had asked them, why doesn't God perform miracles in the world anymore? For some reason, he thought I would have the answer, so he called me. So I told him the truth. God uses the Holy Spirit in all of us to do his work, to do his miracles in the world. Our vocation as the church is to be the lungs of the breath of God. That as we receive the Holy Spirit and breathe in, we exhale and share that life-giving Spirit with others. So perhaps you know someone who is afraid today. Call them. Take them out to lunch. Grab a coffee with them. Breathe that Holy Spirit that you have been given onto them. That is our Pentecost call as Christians. That we prophesy to this valley of dry bones that Christ is the way, the truth, and the life.